Good evening. It's 6:30 p.m. on Monday, December the 16th. And I now call the Winton City School Board of Education meeting to order. Please turn your cell phones to silence and rise with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Seymour, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Present.
Mr. Birdie?
Here.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Here.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Present.
Dr. Johnson?
Present. Just as a reminder, this is our last meeting of the year, and that all of our work follows the SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-sensitive. Our first item on the agenda is, this evening, is our district honors, recognitions, and gifts. I would like to approach the podium and then ask Mrs. Kuhn to join me. Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
Sure. Do you want to sing? Do they want to sing first?
Are they here to sing first? Are they here?
Yeah, they're here to sing.
Oh, well, if they're here to sing, then we would like to have the Varsity Ensemble sing
Yeah.
first.
Very, very tired.
Yes. I didn't see you, I apologize.
Maybe because I started out with a solo, but I didn't.
Okay. Whoa. Well, see, that's why I was wanting to know. Yeah.
They're going to apologize if they're not wearing their VE uniforms. They need to be washed. After a long weekend of 5 performances, and they have another performance on Wednesday for the Kiwanis as well. So my name is Beth Minky Miller. I am the Director of Choirs here at the high school, and these are some of our members of Varsity Ensemble. The ensemble itself is made up of 43 singers, but as you all know, it's been a very busy weekend for us, a very busy week. I think we counted, we had about 12 performances within just about 12 days. So these kids have been hard at work. They've been rock stars. We are so very proud of them. So the first piece we're going to start out with is Carol of the Bells. Hark about the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, ringing a cheer, ding dong dong, ding dong dong, ding dong ding dong, bell in the song, ring joyful ring, oh caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh how they pound, raising the sound, oh heaven bells, telling their tale. Gaily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here, ding dong ding dong, ding dong, ring joyful ring, oh caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they pound, raising the sound, oh, heaven filled, telling their tale. Gaily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, with joyful ring, oh, ding dong, ding dong, dong, without end, their joyful tone to every home. On will they send, on without end, their joyful tone to every home. Now I would like to invite up my colleague, Joshua Defford, for the next piece.
Hi, I'm Josh Dufford. We're going to sing Silent Night.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. Round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender.
very much for having us. We wish you all the very merriest of Christmases and happy holidays. Thank you. Oh, yes.
So, Board, I'd like to move to 2.01 and offer a special recognition from the Nippert Foundation. And I'd like to give the information to everyone in the audience. The L&L Nippert Charitable Foundation awarded a $45,000 grant to supplement the funding of the Winton Woods High School Varsity Ensemble March 2020 performance at Carnegie Hall. And if you guys had a chance to hear them at Music Hall, they were absolutely wonderful. And I was proud, and several people came up and said, "Do you know these children?" Because they were taking pictures with me. And I said, "Yes, I'm their voice guy." And but they were, I was just so proud to be there. You guys sounded absolutely phenomenal. And it made us know that, having that other little burst, and you guys made the sacrifices to be there in the evenings and every night, every day. I think you're wonderful young people, and I am proud that we are Winton Woods Warriors for life. Thank you for everything. All right. You guys want to say anything?
Yes, I just want to say that I really enjoyed you all coming in and singing for us. You sound amazing, and there is no wonder why you're able to compete on the level that you compete at, because it was flawless, beautiful, 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 beautiful.
Very good. Thank you. All right. So you have classes tomorrow, so scurry on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's fantastic.
We ready to move on?
Okay, yes, we'll move on. As I make my way to the podium, Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
Yes, if you notice, I brought my family with me tonight. Hello, guys. Good to see you again.
What a lovely crew.
Yes, they are. So I'd like to award the Community Spirit Award to Miss Paula Kuhn for her incredible commitment to Winton Woods City Schools, her dedication, her vision, and all of the incredible ideas that she's brought to the table. Thank you, Mrs. Kuhn, for a job well done. Thank you.
She fits in her camera.
That's fine.
Can we get a full board?
Yes.
Yes,
we'll
and
bring it forward
everybody,
and
the
then-
board would come and take a picture. Let's sit over this way so we'll all fit.
Oh, no, we're
we can
right
get-
here.
Well, you can get one of us together and then,
Just got to keep the show moving.
okay.
Okay.
Come on, guys. We'll make her the center. Yeah, we need to be the center.
All right, family, it's photo time. Get the camera, get the phones out.
Making a big glare.
I'm sure somebody will give you a picture, Jim.
I need points.
Very good.
Okay,
Now,
Ms.
let's have
Kuhn?
your family come up and take a picture.
No, before we do that, we'd like for her to say a few words.
Oh, okay. And board, if you want to stay and say a few words, you can as well. You're welcome to.
I was going to tease Mr. Smith and tell him I have questions, but that's okay.
Oh,
No, I'm not very comfortable taking the limelight. I'm very good at promoting things that are really important to me, and one of those most important things is our school and our district and our students. I take a lot of pride in seeing their accomplishments. That's what drives me, and I know that's what drives the board. So from our standpoint, we're more behind, at least I am too, and I think they are too, behind the scenes, and they work really hard to give our students the opportunity to be successful. and to provide our community with an opportunity to weigh in, to be good stewards of our funding, to make sure it's spent well, and to make sure that our students get the most out of their education here. So that's what we take a lot of joy in. That's one of my joys in this position. So thank you very much.
So, yes, Paula, I've thoroughly enjoyed being on the board with you. Your passion for what you do is what keeps us all going and why we're here. She is here for the students of this school district. She spent a lot of time on levies and other activities and committee meetings and things that a lot of people don't see. And she really does have a commitment to the children of this school district, which makes her special. So,
Very good. I'd like to thank Ms. Kuhn for welcoming me to the board, helping me through the learning curve it took to get up to speed, and for being a really good colleague and who really cares about the district. Thank you.
Paula, thank you for your service. I've known you through the PTA and through many other opportunities to serve the district, and it really takes a special individual to continue to stay in it after your kids have gone on, so thank you for your service.
Just as everybody else has already echoed the thank you, but I want just to remind, Paul and I had a good little joke going, because we knew each other over 23 years ago, because she used to beat my husband all the time in basketball. She was a softball. I'm sorry, not basketball. Thank you. Softball. So I got so much pleasure out of that because he's such a sore loser. She was coaching, he was coaching, and he was such a sore loser, especially to a woman, and I enjoyed that so much. So anyway, having said that though, I knew that even then that you had a heart for the community and a heart for the work that you poured yourself into, and it's been a pleasure working with you these past years on the board, and I love the team that we formed, during that time. So you guys have a jewel in her, and you just loaned her to us for a little while, and we really appreciate that. So, all right, thank you so much. Thank you for everything.
So,
Bring your family up. I'll hold on
Hold
to
it.
this. No,
Ms.
you
Kuhn?
want to hold on to that with your family.
you get
But-
the opportunity, you get the opportunity, and
I'll take this down.
you've asked me 1,000 questions since you've been on the board.
You're going to ask me a question?
I've counted them. I have them listed right here. And so you get to do something just a little bit different today.
Okay.
You get to pick 3 of your family members to come up and speak.
I'm getting some no's from several of them. Well, we'll bring Aaron, Alex. I don't know if Jim I can't tell if he wants to talk or not. I don't think he does.
The baby's
I think
like,
Liam
I'll
wants
do
to
it.
say something. But,
All right, here we go.
Almost great.
all right.
Come on up.
Aaron. Aaron's my oldest daughter, so.
She would just
I
go
don't
with them more.
What do I say? Something about me, I guess.
Well, my mom, not much older than I am, so I'm just saying, so we have 2 different families. So me and my sisters are real close in age, and then my brother, he's only 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a high school. She has a freshman grandson.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's almost like 2 families, but, 19, she did a lot for us, and she kind of, she likes to say, grew up with us. And I think, we all learn from each other, and I think that while you're never too, it's never too late, she, obviously joined the board and the PTA, with my brother, after we were already kind of gone. But, again, I have, 4 kids of my own, and, by the time my 4th child comes around, maybe I'll have time for some more things like her. But I really do. I look up to my mom, and she puts a lot of time into the levy in the school, like you guys said, after her kids have already graduated and gone. And, I'm glad that she gets the recognition, and I love her, and I look up to her.
Bravo.
All right.
What can I say that hasn't already been said up here? I can give you a quick little anecdote about how much she strives for excellence. I mean, without her, I wouldn't be near the place I am. Oh, and Dad as well. But, but just a little anecdote. I would get home every day from like 5th grade all the way up to the end of high school, where if I would walk in the door and if I'd missed any assignment, oh God. You see her, she's all smiles here. Oh my God, I would walk on eggshells at home. I'm like, don't bring up anything about school. And she's like, I see that you missed this assignment. What happened to it? Just to put the tensions in the air. It cuts like a knife. And then, yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm a little excited. Yeah, no. She always pushes hard work and a good work ethic. And I love her so much, and it feels so good to see other people recognize what she does outside of the home, and I'm just so proud of her.
Very good, Alex.
Very good.
Alex, I do understand what you mean about the questions, though. I understand that. Yes, sir. Yes.
Glad to see she does it to others.
Yeah. All right. We got one person left.
Amanda? Because I don't think Jennifer wanted, or you guys could both come up if you want.
I don't recall that because I did my homework and turned in my assignments.
Okay.
Just throwing it out there. Yeah, there wasn't online stuff either, so it was based off of what I said, and that's all that went. Really, I mean, my mom's awesome. She's wonderful. She not only is involved with all of you guys, but she was always involved in our lives. I don't know what else to say other than she's wonderful, and I'm so proud of her. So.
Very good. So this photo shoot is going to be arranged. I would like for I'm kind of controlling this whole thing right now. So. But I'd like for Mrs. Coon's mom to come up to be next to her, and let's go up for the photo shoot. All right, come on up.
She's crying.
Yes, come on.
It's getting dusty in here. We can, this is really dusty. It's gonna hurt.
Let's get that one picture, Miss Jackson, and then let's bring the rest of the family in.
Oh, yeah.
Way to go. That's amazing.
Oh, that's a great picture. Stay there, Mom.
All right, stay there, Mom.
Stay there.
All right, everybody
down into
else,
the flock.
let's blend in and let's make it look good.
No, don't push Grammy in there. Oh, speaking.
Very good. All right. Amazing. That was all the special awards, recognitions, and gifts for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, and thank you, Mrs. Kuhn. And again, I just want to say we appreciate your dedication and your commitment and sacrifice to serving the district over the years. And we also appreciate the time that you spent with us on the board. Thank you so, so much. We will now take a 5-minute recess, and we'll resume in 5 minutes. We'll now resume the regular board meeting, and the next item on the agenda is 4.01. We still have guests.
Yes.
They're leaving, but we're good. The next item on the agenda is 4.01, public comments. And since we do not have any public comments, we're going to skip on to 5.01, sorry. It's nothing like the excitement of family, you know, when they come. So I have the same kind of family, so. 5.01, which is the Winton Woods Teachers Association representative, and I do not think we see a representative here tonight from the WWTA. So moving on to the next item on the agenda, 5.02, the Ohio Association of Public School Employees, and we do have a representative in the House for that organization, so we welcome you to the podium.
Good evening, Madam President, board members, Mr. Smith. Also, just want to say thank you for acknowledging us tonight, and we would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a safe holiday. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we also want to say thank you because you always bring us little treats, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate your presence at our meetings. Thank you very much for showing up.
Ms. Gordon, thank you for stepping up.
Yes, yes.
This is better than the other stuff that you've been giving us. That's all I want to say.
That's not what I was talking about.
They wanted to say it, but they asked me to say
That's
it.
not what I was talking about.
No, thank you very, very much.
Yes, it's very nice. The next item on the agenda is 6.01, the approval of minutes as presented. Board, unless you see any necessary changes, a motion would be in order.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is 7.01, which is our treasurer's report for the financial statements for November 2019. Mr. Seymour, you have the floor.
Yes, from the reports, you can see that the year-to-date revenues in the general fund were $22.7 million, with a month-to-date revenues of $1.9 million, which was mostly from the state foundation funding. Also, you can see that our year-to-date expenditures in the general fund were $21.1 million for the year-to-date, and we're currently running about $2.1 million, or 3% under the budget. You could see that all funds had $79 million. $19.4 million was the general fund, $8 million in the building fund, and $46.4 million in facilities. And unless you have any questions, that's a summary of the financials.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. With no objections being heard, I'd like to let the financial statements for the month of November be submitted for audit. And it's going to be back to you, Mr. Seymour, for the treasurer's recommendation of the investments for November 2019.
Yes, our investments for the month of November were approximately $79 million. We earned about $224,000, of which general fund was $68,000 and building funds $156,000.
Yes, very good. Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Board, a motion would be in order to approve the investments as report as presented.
I'm making a motion to approve the investment report as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Sure. Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. The next item on our agenda is 9.01, which is the reports of the superintendent for schools reports. Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
Madam President and Board, hopefully you will see that we've condensed this and made it easier to read, where you can see all of the activities that are happening. In some cases, there were several activities that were happening on the same day. And some of these cannot be avoided because we have so many choirs and so many bands and so many incredible students that we had to combine some dates and times. The one thing that I do want to stress to the community and also to the board, that parents have called and asked a question about January 6th. January 6th is a records day. It is a no student day. So the first day the students report back after winter break. Winter break begins December 23rd, and school reopens on January the 7th. So please remember to keep that in mind. Also, third quarter begins January 7th. We had a lot of conversation with teaching and learning over the years, and we kept it actually the same because we wanted students to come back on a fresh start and not have exams to take after they came back from the break. So they have a fresh start third quarter, and this actually works to their advantage. So there are a long list of different activities that are here, but the main ones are based on when these exams and when the scheduled report cards will come out. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I will say that this, when I seen that, it's much easier to read in that way, you know, that they're compartmentalized together. It's much easier for us to follow, so we appreciate you for having that put together like that.
Been working on that for about 5 years, Doc, so
No,
I
I
finally
don't
got
think
it.
so. It's okay. It's working now, so that's fine. The next item on the agenda is 9.02, which are first reads of the new and revised policy. Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
Yes, these are first reads, and I am so excited about some of these policies because, Board, I know that over the winter break, you'll have a chance to dive deep into the policies and come back refreshed with a lot of conversations about some of these new policies. So the first one is 7440.03, small unmanned aircraft systems. And the reason this policy is so important is they found out that teams were scouting other teams using drones as they flew around different stadiums, and you know, the Ohio High School Athletic Association say that that's really not appropriate. So what? What's the team? The Patriots can do it, but we shouldn't be doing that. The other one is Policy 2431, Interscholastic Athletics. Policy 5113.02, School Choice Options. Policy 5350, Students' Mental Health and Suicide Prevention. And please pay close attention because we have to have certain clubs and certain prevention activities associated with it. And Mrs. Bray has been very diligent on leading some of the student mental health and suicide prevention conversations. Policy 5512, use of tobacco. And in this policy, I believe that the vape systems are also going to be part of that conversation. Policy 7300, disposition of real property and personal property. Policy 7434, use of tobacco on school premises. And finally, Policy 8462. And again, Board, these are first reads, so we'll come back next month with the finals. And that's student abuse and neglect.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Smith. The next item on the agenda is 9.03, which is the facilities update. Mr. Smith, you have the floor again.
Yes, one of the things that I think the board really enjoyed seeing was what is the comparison to Vision 1 and Vision 2? So in the first, and the slide to your far right, it just shows the brick and mortar without the amenities, without the trees, without some of the other special things that happen. The example to your left is a completed building, and we've even included clouds in there because it'll just be a nice, beautiful day when those buildings open up. So we're very, very creative of everything we do to bring that example to light. Next one. This gives you a better view of exactly how this looks and what the renderings really will take shape in. It just changes the whole idea, and it makes it that much more exciting. And to see the interior of a collaborative zone is absolutely wonderful. So slowly but surely, these things are shaping up and turning into this incredible facility that we've been talking about. And the good thing about it, talking to the engineers and talking to the craftsmen and talking to SHP and Megan, we're on schedule and we are still under budget. And the learning stairs, that looks absolutely incredible. So at the end of this process, there'll be a sort of like a keepsake. It's a vaulted thing that happens with a time capsule. And some of these pictures of how this building started and names of board members and their contribution to the community will actually be under a particular time capsule date. And this will actually be on both sites, where we'll put some special pictures, some special memorabilia into the time capsule. And so look forward to that. You probably won't be around to see how it opens up.
I was gonna
but
ask,
that's
are any of us
okay.
gonna be alive?
That's okay. It'll be all right. Okay.
Appreciate it.
That was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We have a lot more pictures to look at, so we're still looking at our pictures. So it's very good, very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. The next item on the agenda is 10.01. Under the superintendent's recommendation is the job description for Title I coordinator. Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
Yes, Madam President and Board, the Title I coordinator's position is a very important position. However, it is a stipend position. It is not a full position. And we have put a list of qualifications in here and some of the essential duties. But Ms. Wilson, is there something in particular that you want the board to see about this particular job description?
No, I think you spoke to it, that it is a supplemental. A lot of people saw this and thought, I'll take that job. Then when I said, no, this is in addition to your day job, then we had a really hard time filling it. But we did find someone that was interested and qualified.
So, very good.
I do have a
Well,
question.
let's get a motion on the floor, and then we'll entertain questions. Board, a motion would be in order to approve the job description for the Title I coordinator.
I'll make a motion to approve the job description for Title I coordinator as presented.
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded. Now we have questions. Dr. Kubiletti?
Yes. The coordinator will not prepare any reports, is that correct, from what I see in the description?
They might prepare reports, but they ultimately report to the directors of teaching and learning, and their names will be on the reports. This is sort of a quasi-clerical, high-level clerical job that requires understanding of federal funding and how it works.
So, that's good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Is this a new position, or had we had this filled in the past, or who had performed these duties previously?
This is not a new position. We've had it for many years, and the person that previously held the position resigned due to personal reasons. She has some commitments at home that just don't allow her to do this in her free time anymore. But she's done it for probably 15 years.
Sure. Are these description responsibilities different than what had been previously done? Are they pretty much the same?
Well, she helped create these bullets. So I work collaboratively with her and also the Department of Teaching and Learning.
And then one other question, is there a limit on the amount of time or the expectation on the amount of time for this position, like so many hours?
Nope, it's just like our other supplementals, it's outside of the school day. So this person would have to do most of these duties outside of the school day in addition to their normal day job.
Sure. And did it take that other person 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week? I was just curious the extent of the rigor of what this job required.
It ebbs and flows. So for instance, this year we're having a Title I audit. So this will be a very cumbersome year. Other years when it's just sort of a maintenance and making sure we're up to speed, it's less cumbersome. But this year is an important year. So.
And will the person train that person to take this, since
Yes.
it's going to be a very rigorous accounting year?
So our former coordinator has said that while she can't do it herself, she's here for support. She'll do whatever we need her to do. And she has been and will continue to work with the person that is going to take the position.
Okay.
So she's leaving on very happy terms. She's a great employee, long-term employee. She's done a great job. And it's just that she's not able to continue.
The advantage that we have to the board is there are times where people realize that the job that they're doing is overwhelming and they can't do it anymore, but they don't tell you. And we do appreciate her. So she didn't drop the ball. She just said that I am too far extended. And so I'm giving you notice that I would like to resign from this position. And if there's someone else that you have in mind, I would appreciate it. But I would be willing to stay on to help train them. That's the kind of workforce that we really need in our district to make sure that the ball doesn't get dropped.
So I have one question. Is there overlap then, or will one be gone and the other one will come, or there's like a few days of overlap so that the training can occur?
Well, so the person that's resigned is not officially doing anything.
Okay.
But she is helping.
Just available for questions.
Yeah, she's just salt of the earth. She's going to help.
Okay.
It's Jeannie Rankin. I don't know if you all know her. She works in Project Success. And she's just, she'll do anything for the district, and she has. So she has offered to help Mrs. Martin and Dr. Ragland and the person that the board approves tonight.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions or discussion on this issue? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is 10.02, which is a job description for the Community and Public Engagement Coordinator. Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
Ms. Wilson?
This position, much like last year, is just an attempt to update the job description. When we created the position, roughly, I don't know, it's 7 years ago, it was a new position, so we sort of made up things that we thought this person would do. Some of those came to be true, some of them not so much. And so what we've tried to do is update this, the verbiage, and just recognize some of the things that Mrs. Denny is currently doing. And then, of course, we added the language, the non-discriminatory language at the bottom, which is what we did last year with all of our job descriptions.
And some of these are actually, the reason you see strikeouts, some of these are actually performed in the school by administration. And so these would not be under the auspices of the Community and Public Engagement Coordinator. And we changed the title from relations into engagement because that's what we need to make sure that our community is engaged in conversation and not just, going out, creating a few handshakes and waves here and there. Are you actively engaged in the work that we do at Winton Woods City Schools?
That's good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Smith, and thank you, Mrs. Wilson. Board, a motion would be in order to approve this job description for the Community and Public Engagement Coordinator.
I'll make a motion to approve the job description regarding Community and Public Engagement Coordinator as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn? Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is 10.03, which is another job description for the publicity writer. Mr. Smith and then Mrs. Wilson have the floor.
Yes, before Ms. Wilson gives an overview, one of the things that I would like to say that we've changed, we've had a serious change in this particular position is because one of the things that we realized, we were writing stories after the event had already taken place. And so this actually gives us a better handle. The stories come out before the event takes place so that people can actually attend the event. So it was more of a preempted attitude about, I'm going to write this great story so that you can come to activities. For example, where the VE performed with the Pops. The story was out before the Pops performed, before they performed with the Pops. Those are the kind of pieces that we need to make sure that we put in place so that people know how to attend our events and not come back and say, oh, I missed another one. So that was one of the charges that the publicity writer had under her belt to say, how can you put the stories out there so that people know to attend as opposed to being after the fact?
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Board, a motion would be in order to approve this particular job description for the publicity writer.
I'll make a motion to approve the job description for the publicity writer as
Easy for you to say.
presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions for discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Brody?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is 10.04, which is the personnel schedules. Superintendent Smith, you have the floor.
Yes, Madam President and Board, the recommendation is to approve the personnel schedules, and Ms. Wilson will give you an overview if you need one. The first one is Schedule A, resignations. The second is Schedule B, personnel employment certificated. Personnel employment support staff. Schedule C. Schedule D, personnel employment certificated and uncertificated, including extra duties. And finally, Schedule E, leaves.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Board, a motion would be in order.
I make a motion to approve the personnel as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Brody?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is thank you, Mrs. Wilson. The next item on the agenda is 10.05, which is the proposal for an overnight extended student trip for the Winton Woods High School Academy of Global Studies, the 11th graders, to go to Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia on the time of February the 13th through the 16th, 2020. Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
The recommendation is to approve the proposal for overnight extended student trip, Winton Woods High School Academy of Global Studies, 11th grade, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, February 13th to the 16th, 2020, as presented. The other part is the students have taken this trip for several years, and they really benefit from all of the learning that takes place and all of the great historical facts that they gather on the way, which helps to promote their project-based learning inquiry.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Board, a motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal for an overnight extended student trip for the Winton Woods High School, the Academy of Global Studies, the 11th grade, on a trip to Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, February 13th through 16th, 2020.
Second?
I do have a question.
Yeah, right, go ahead.
Within
Questions?
the body of the proposal, it states that the departure date is the 12th of February. So I wanted to make sure, because in our the motion, it states the 13th. So
Yeah,
I want to
they-
make sure if we needed to.
Yeah, 12th to the 15th. They would be in D.C. on the 13th. So we can change the date and make it reflect the 12th to the 15th.
Just for their travel,
Yes.
yeah.
Very good.
Thank you, Mrs. Coon. So let them reflect that there needs to be a change from February the 13th to February the 12th, which is their departure date from the high school here through the 16th.
Yeah, they may be leaving at night, right, and then it turns into the
Right.
next morning during travel.
And it could be midnight kind of a thing, so could we check and make sure if that's a midnight kind of thing?
I
It
will-
really
I
is
will-
officially
I
the
will check on it
13th,
to
but
make sure.
they're
Yeah,
leaving
it's-
at
they're
10,
leaving actually
okay.
on- just-
So it is the 12th,
Yeah, just for
okay.
purposes of this. Yeah.
Thank you.
16th is if they get back past midnight.
Okay, all right, very good, thank you. Good, thank you for the information. Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Brody?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye, that vote passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is 10.06, which is the second read of the new and revised policies. And Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
Yes, Madam President and Board, this is the recommendations to approve the second read, the new and revised policies as presented. Policy 1615, use of tobacco by administrators. Policy 1310, employment of the treasurer. Policy 1340, non-reemployment of the treasurer. Policy 3215, professional staff, use of tobacco by professional staff. Policy 4215, use of tobacco by classified staff. And Policy 5200, students' attendance. 5230, students' arrival late and early dismissal. Policy 5460, graduation requirements. And finally, Policy 8500, operations of food services.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Board, a motion would be in order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the second read of the new and revised policies as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion on any of these policies that are our second read? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda, thank you, Mr. Smith. The next item on the agenda is 11.01, which is the Board of Education reports or the legislative report. Mrs. Kuhn is our legislative liaison. You have the floor.
I don't have anything to report. Right now, we were conferring on what to bring up, but I was going to ask if the superintendent had anything they might want to address.
Yes, ed choice. Absolutely. I think that, many of my colleagues are writing letters to the legislators talking about what this does to public education. And one of the things that Mr. Seymour clarified in some of his conversations, even though there might be an ed choice voucher of maybe $4,000, the families would still have to come up with additional money in order to support that transition to another facility or another school system. One of the things that I do appreciate about the work that we're doing at Winton Woods City Schools, number one, we are the only project-based learning institution in this region. Number two, we have an incredible arts program, an incredible athletic program, as well as we're building new facilities for students. So where other schools are saying this is the maximum of who we are now just starting to get into our vision about who we can become. So we're excited, and we're not really worried about the ed choice opportunities because we're offering a quality education here at Winton Woods City Schools, so we will continue to carry on that work.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. The only thing that I would add that you didn't say about the wonderful things that we're doing, and you're also working on the preschool.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
cannot forget that.
Yes.
Laying the right foundation makes all the difference in the world for future of the kids. So that's another biggie that.
And knowing that we have preschoolers on the waiting list, that's a rough, but we're working diligently to rectify that.
Right. And the preschoolers are on the list because the word is getting out that it's going to be great or that it is great.
We're already
We're already
5-star.
great, yeah.
Yes.
And we've already got the step up to quality, so it's when you have something good, people want to be a part of it, and that's just one thing that you didn't mention that I think that is really important too. Okay, well, thank you, Mrs. Cohn and Mr. Smith. The next item on the agenda is 11.02, our Great Oaks Career Technical Center report, and Mr. Birdie as our liaison. You have the floor.
And then I apologize for being out of town last meeting, but I've got some students in the spotlight for our Great Oaks students that I want to go through, and I've got quite a few of them here. So I'm going to touch on the Scarlet Citizenship Award weekly winners that are in the November and December report. Andrea Castro is a Scarlet Oaks dental assistant, is in the dental assisting program. Joshua Ingram is in Scarlet Oaks welding. Roman Gurung is in Scarlet Oaks auto mechanics. Genevieve Lilly is in Scarlet Oaks veterinary assisting. We have Jacob Reed is in Scarlet Oaks Career X. We have Angela Woods in Scarlet Oaks dental assisting. Briaja Bentley is in Scarlet Oaks Dental Assisting. Nashwana Birch is in Scarlet Oaks Health Technology. And we have Jeremiah Gilliam in Scarlet Oaks Industrial Diesel Mechanics. And we have Crochet Miles in Scarlet Oaks Veterinary Assisting. And then we also have some Student of the Quarter honorees, which are Kevin Lynn, who is in the Scarlet Oaks Web Applications and Game Development. And we have, let's see, there's still, Alexis Beeman is in Scarlet Oaks Health Technology. And I believe that is
Did you get Jeremiah Gilliam?
Jeremiah Gilliam and Kevin Lynn were the other two.
Okay,
Yeah, Jeremiah Gilliam. And then we have a couple of students who were recognized for job placements, which is Will Bodley, has a job with Beacon Electric. Nashwana Birch, again, she also got a citizenship award, but she's also got a job placement with Glendale Place. And Jeremiah Graham is in the Growing Together Learning Center. The other thing they did at the last meeting in December was they had the Great Oaks Educational Foundation dinner before the board meeting last week, and it's one of my favorites. They have former students come back and tell stories about how Great Oaks changed their lives and some of the assistance that they got from the Educational Foundation that helped them with scholarships. And it was kind of interesting hearing students that had gotten accepted to UC in some engineering programs and the DAP program and how well they're doing and how far ahead they are of some of the other students because of the training and the certifications that they got at Scarlet Oaks. So it's a good evening. And with that, I will conclude my report.
Excellent. I mean, this is quite a few. I didn't count them, but we have quite a few. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10,
Close to 15,
12,
16.
14, 15.
Yeah, I think 15.
That's very nice. Very nice report. It's always good to hear good news of what our students are doing and what they're accomplishing in their academic life at the Oaks.
Oh, and the dinner was
Really
put together by the culinary students
Culinary
at
students,
Great
yeah.
Oaks, and I took a picture of my plate before, and then
And
there was nothing left after. It was very good. Everything was great.
For future opportunities with the Oaks, I'd like to see if we can invite some of those students to come in so they can talk about some of their endeavors as it relates to the Oaks. I mean, awarding them on paper and getting a chance to see their pictures, but if we could see them in person, just a few at each meeting, I think that would be very, very inspirational.
That's a great idea. Yeah, that's a great idea, especially it's coming down toward the end of the year. We could
Yes.
maybe start picking a few every, month
That would be
until the
huge.
end of the
Yes.
year. Okay. I want to write myself a note here. Board of Honor. Okay. All right, very good. The next item on the agenda is 12.01, which is board motions and recommendations to set the date and time and location for the 2020 organizational meeting. Board of motion is in order to approve that date.
I'd like to make a motion to set the Winton Woods Board of Education organizational meeting on Monday, January 13th, 2020 at 6:30 in the High School Media Center.
I'll second.
Okay, JB, thank you. It's been motioned and seconded. Anybody have a question with any of those dates and times? We're all good? All right, Mr. Seymour, would you call that vote?
Sure. Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is 12.02, which is the appointment of the President Pro Tem until the President is appointed at the 2020 organizational meeting. And board a motion is in order to approve the appointment for President Pro Tem. And I've already asked Mrs. Ruggles, so if she would be willing to do it. And so I'll make that motion to nominate Mrs. Ruggles as President Pro Tem.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion around that, board? Okay, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. Moving right along here, board. The The next item on the agenda is 13.01, which is comments from the members of the board. And I thought it fitting that make Mrs. Kuhn first. She's still reeling from, she's still a little flushed, but Mrs. Kuhn, you're up.
Thank you to my board and to this treasurer and superintendent and to all the administrators and the entire, our entire community. It's been a pleasure, obviously, to work on behalf of our students, to see the great strides that our students make, to see all the opportunities. That's what is very joyful to me, for every opportunity that our students have to go on and to do greater things in life. Those are really important. So I always enjoy that, and I wish continued success to our students. And I have great expectations as my son. I have very high expectations, so I'll continue to monitor with my high expectations.
We fully expect that. Thank you, Mrs. Kuhn. Mr. Birdie?
Well, we've said it all before. Paula, thank you very much for your service. We've enjoyed having you on the board and working with you. You ask a lot of very good questions, no matter what he says.
You do.
Just with that, everybody have a safe holiday, come back in January and get started all over again with the next semester. And I'm done.
All right, thank you, Mr. Birdie. Dr. Cupoletti?
Only to wish everyone a nice holiday season, a safe one, and a warm one if you can.
Thank you, Dr. Cupoletti. Mrs. Ruggless?
On December 3rd, and actually on the 19th, as part of the SAC committee, or my commitment to the SAC committee, we have been having this conversation on the report card and the validity of it and how it's used in, to evaluate districts. And so we have a group of superintendents and board members who are coming together to talk about some of the issues with the report card and how it's used to evaluate the districts, and how it works against us. We're not against evaluating how well the schools are doing, but we are interested in having a fair and equitable process for doing that, because using the state report card, it's also used to do ed choice, to decide on ed choice. But if there's standard deviation issues and standard errors throughout the metrics, we need to make sure that it is fair, because we're the ones who are going to go to our communities and ask for support, but there's a document, or there's the report card that works against really understanding how well the schools are doing. I do believe that, parents have the right to choose wherever they wanted to send their children, and they also have the right to choose how they want to spend their tax dollars. And I think as constituents of the district, we need to make sure that we have a representation at the state to voice our concerns and make sure that we are being accountable for the work that we do, but also the state is being accountable for creating an assessment that is fair. So there's been a group that has been working since the fall. We had a very, I actually missed the meeting on the 3rd, but we have another meeting on the 19th, because we do have the ear of some of the lawmakers and the state superintendent as a way for us to come together and collectively come up with a process that helps the communities understand how well their schools are being evaluated. And I don't know how many of you have seen the Ed Choice list that just came out, but there's schools from Wyoming and other schools that are considered to be high performing that are being now evaluated as having issues where parents can take their children to having other choices. So just stay tuned. I'll try to have more on what's happening with that committee with the Ohio School Boards Association, but yeah, that's all that I have. And thank you, Paula, and everyone. Have a wonderful and safe holiday.
Thank you, Mrs. Ruggles. Mr. Seymour? Okay.
Oh, no.
Nothing. Thank you. Okay.
It was a joy working with you, Paula.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
Yes, Ms. Kuhn, thank you for everything. We started out playing checkers, and then it turned into chess, where we had to anticipate some of the questions. But after each board meeting, with the help of Waycross, I went back and studied your work to anticipate what you would ask me the next month, and I was successful many times. So thank you for everything. Thank you for your creative leadership, and we really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We've all said it. We appreciate the work that you've done, and we know that you will continue to work for the betterment of the school district, and we appreciate your family for giving you to us for a spot of time. Also, again, as everyone has said, have a happy and safe holiday season. Our weather just does what it wants to do. So we have to be careful and be vigilant as we go out in it and come back safe and healthy. And having the time off from December the 23rd until January the 7th, I think you said they come back on the 7th, right? So that's a nice little time. Have your kids read a book or two while they're off, for the holiday. Not just, maybe some things of historical perspective, I don't know, but whatever they might enjoy, have them read something that will promote their reading is fun and fundamental, so to learning. So anything that they could read would be helpful.
In addition to that, Dr. Johnson, we mentioned it at the last board meeting to parents who are letting their children go to the malls and some of the other things. Please keep a close eye on them and where they frequent and what friends they're around and who they share rides with, because it's very, very important that people are very, very different in 2019. And we'd like for all of our kids to come back safe and very, very focused without any incidents.
And the other thing is, everybody has a little cell phone. Turn on your tracking device with your friend list, so that we can track each other. It's a thing, so it's okay, so that if you are not where you're supposed to be, somebody can hit your cell phone and figure out where you are. Not everybody, but the people that
That's
you have
great.
in your friend group.
I'm always where I'm supposed to be, so Dr. Johnson, I don't mind letting you track me
I'm
if
not
that's okay.
binging you.
All right, okay.
I'm not binging.
You're allowed to, so I'll give you my information after the meeting today.
But it is a thing. If you have a group of friends, we do that in our family.
Absolutely.
We have on our tracking devices so that we can know where everybody is, so that everybody is safe, And that doesn't mean that you have to share that with everybody, but just your group of friends. So it's just a nice little device, thing that you can do on your device. Okay, having said that, Board, I do believe that there is a need for an executive session tonight. So I'll entertain a motion at this time to go into executive session.
I'd like to go.
Yeah, you like to go?
She just stopped.
Not like that.
Freudian slip. Sorry. I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the appointment of a public official and the employment and discipline of an employee.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That vote passes unanimously. For now, we will be finished. We won't come back out and conduct any other business. So thank you again to the Waycross community for your service in videotaping tonight's meeting. With that said, we'll call this meeting of the Winton City School Board of Education for Monday, November the 16th adjourned. Stay safe. What did I just say? December. Thank you, December the 16th. I do not want to go back. No, I'm moving forward. December the 16th. Thank you. We're adjourned.